broadcast where we share unconventional wellness ideas, courageous conversations about perseverance, authenticity, and reclaiming our power as modern mindful women. We are so glad to be back with you all. Hi, Sonia. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Cynthia?
I'm doing excellent, minus the technical issues we're experiencing.
I kind of have the giggles. I'm trying to
So
focused after that.
About how lucky we are here in California and the weather and everything, and then it decided to say, just kidding. Not happening.
Start over.
So do over. So we're here, so excited to be with you with the new season. We are now in March. So what we're saying is, we're marching into your holistic, thriving, your best life. And in the vein of that idea, what comes with March is usually a lot of, activity around spring cleanings. So we want to dedicate this month to springing into our health, into our, best living, and taking a look under the hood, I guess. It's like, the show is called Under Construction, right? So, why we chose that as the theme and the name for the show is because we are always under construction, and we don't have to demolish what is already there because it has some bumps and bruises and some chip paint and whatnot that, how some of these beautiful home improvement shows, it's like they find the gems and the jewels behind the walls, and they find things that have been neglected and unloved, and they love it again, right? So that being said, spring is a wonderful time for us to be able to get the energy to do the things that we need to. And just before we kick off the show, Sonia is going to get us into a grounding breathing exercise here. But we want to, set the intention for the show that we're here to pull back some of the things that you might not be aware of, and taking a look at, the stuff that's probably sabotaging your progress, like, failed New Year's resolutions, these, like, what do they do at the beginning of the year? Like, they're constantly in your face with all these dieting programs and stuff, and why it doesn't work, and giving you some real support on the things that you can do for yourself to spring clean and get closer to your best health and your holistic wellness, whether it's financial wellness, mental, physical, spiritual. We want to support you in every which way. So with that, handing it over to Sonia.
Thank you guys for joining us today. And we're going to just start with our breath today. Get sitting heavy in your chair, grounding your feet flat on the ground if you're able to, and closing your eyes, relaxing your shoulders, and your visual breathing today. I want you to focus on one breath only, and centering it in a straight line. And what I mean by that is inhaling through your nose and see one straight line of stream of this beautiful oxygen going all the way down into your diaphragm, circling around your belly button, and holding it there. And exhaling this air all the way out, blowing it out through your nose or your mouth, whatever makes you most comfortable. Taking another inhale in, centering this stream of oxygen all the way down into your diaphragm again, and hold, centering your body, centering your oxygen, centering your thoughts, and exhaling it all the way out again, exhaling through your shoulders, all the way out of your mouth. One more cleansing inhale in, filling your diaphragm up, holding that air, centering it around love and focus and ease and peace, and exhaling it all out, all the stale air. Exhale it all the way out, shaking your shoulders, shaking your head, and open your eyes. Good job.
Awesome. So one more thing to add on there, because the body speaks, and sometimes it's holding on to things, and this is just coming up, and I think it would be good to highlight. On the exhale, it's maybe your last exhale in any kind of breathing exercise if you feel comfortable, and most people don't because they don't want to look weird, they don't want, it might be uncomfortable, is give your body permission to express itself with a sound. So in yogic breathing, sometimes they'll do the oh, just and not filtering and giving your body permission to express what it's been hanging on to. And it's a very powerful exercise to incorporate with any breathing, because it gives your body a voice, right? It gives it permission to express itself, and the sound of our voice is it has its own purpose, and it offers another layer of healing. So it's almost like it's being heard. So it might seem a little odd for you, but just try it out. Like what sound does your body want to make, and don't filter it, right? Don't make it wrong, and just see what happens, because you might notice something else that you didn't before. So what Sonia and I bring you is the opportunity to become mindful and present to yourself, and just being conscious of your life and living in it. So thank you, Sonia. So kicking it off with the theme of springing into our best selves here with the month of March. What are the common things I want you to share with us? What are the common things? Because this is, in your field, it's you see more of like the people making choices for themselves to better their health. And once they work with you, on my end, it's usually the emotional and mental mindset type of health, but the physical aspect is what drives people more, because it's how they present themselves into the world. So what do you normally see around this time? What is women's motivation? Why? What are some of the challenges that they're experiencing?
Well, it's really interesting because just as our seasons come about, there's constant shifts going on, whether we're aware of it or not, in our body, in our environment, in our work life, in our relationships, in our food that is sourced month to month if you're eating seasonal. And what I learned over my 25 plus years is around this time, it's really when people are checking in with themselves, but also looking at themselves in a way of, I didn't do what I was supposed to do or what I promised myself I would do in my New Year's resolution, or they're starting to feel like they're needing to catch up and that they're behind. And it's really, really interesting, because if they didn't get to the New Year's resolution, or they didn't make those goals at the beginning of the year, there's this sense of urgency that comes about in March to do things. And it's also a resurge of energy. The weather's usually changing. It happens, right? Energy in our body, energy in our environment, energy in our home, energy at work. All of this is shifting, so it's not unusual that it's coming about. But what I found is that people really look at themselves and go, okay, I'm not so cold or so sluggish, or I'm not stuck inside all the time, and I feel like I want to do something different. I want to show up for myself differently. And so it is a time of new beginnings. It's a time, new flowers. Even here, I'm getting tulips and daffodils popping up, and it's been really cold. Out in the environment, it says, it's time for spring, but here we're not yet ready for it. And I'm sure if you're on the East Coast, neither are you. But when we are looking at doing things for ourselves, what we really want to get across today in this new spring cleaning, when we think of spring cleaning, we think of, we need to clean out our closets. We need to move things around. We need to maybe get rid of Christmas stuff that's sitting in my garage and take it to storage, whatever that is, right? And what we want you guys to do and get from this is doing something different. Really, really showing up for yourselves and pushing yourself to a point where you do something that makes you uncomfortable. Because doing things the same way, which is what we do year after year, which is the New Year's resolution, and this is what I do. I set a New Year's resolution, and then come February, I'm looking at myself going, I didn't stay on my diet, and I didn't go to the gym like I said I was going to, do, and we start to feel negative, and we start to feel bad about ourselves, and we start that same crazy cycle of habits and what we do to ourselves. And what we want you to do is show up differently. So for this month, we're going to talk to you about your habits. We're going to talk to you about what cleansing your body means, and we're going to talk to you about how you manage your time, but most importantly, how are you going to do it differently? And it's going to be a little uncomfortable, and we don't want to give you tips on, how to clean your house, because this is, everybody knows how to clean their house, and we know how we used to organize our house, and it is about organization, yes, but how you're going to organize and do it in a different way so that you feel like you are being successful in what you're doing. We want you to feel like you're accomplishing something. We don't want you to feel lack of, and that's the whole example that I give the clients that I work with is, okay, whatever you did didn't work, right? We're going to scrap that, and we're going to start from here. What are you going to do different? And when we look at the little simple things, drinking, okay, every day I'm going to drink 1 glass of water more than I did yesterday, or I am going to set up my house in a different way, or maybe instead of cleaning, a room, I'm going to clean up some relationships, right? Or I'm going to clean up my finances, right? Stuff that we don't usually focus on, and the things that we don't focus on, but that we are interested in, are usually the lessons that we need to learn, right? So those things that we feel overwhelmed about, that we avoid, and this comes up every day. Why am I avoiding this? Well, probably because I need to focus on it. So I'm avoiding it, and I'll do something over here and keep busy over here so that I don't have to see how bad this is over here, right?
Well, most people are not aware of their avoidance anyways, because they got the blinders on. And to your point, there's those layers, and we're all very aware of what we're not doing right in our lives. And whether conscious or unconscious, you're making the choice to either pay attention to it or not to, right? So we were talking about in the last one of the previous episodes how you're making choices every single day in your life. And whether you realize that your choices are intentional or not, that's a different situation. A big component is for me in the work that I do, and how it shows up for Sonia as well, is like getting to the mindset, getting beneath the surface as to, we don't want to take you to that place where you already been. We don't want to rehash and revisit the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and the shame, right? Because I teach energy and frequency. The scale of emotions, there's a scale of emotions, and each emotion resonates at a particular frequency that either supports you or hinders you. They're actually, in whether you believe in this stuff or not, you've all heard the different sayings of, like, anger is killing you, right? You literally hold that in your body, and a lot of the habits that you've created have resulted from these old patterns, as the cycles that Sonia you're talking about. It's like doing it over and over and over again, right? It's like Einstein's, what is it, like the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again, expecting different results.
Doing the same thing over and over again.
And so what we're wanting to inject in for you this month is, in looking at it different. What Sonia's saying is looking at it different. It's not just looking at it different, but feeling it different and choosing it different, because those are all the different components that are interlaced in the habits of success or habits of resistance. because there's no such thing as failure in our do you agree, Sonia? It's like we don't acknowledge anything as a failure. If you do, we consider it failing forward, because it's an important and valuable experience that will, in lesson, right? That will either support you in a new awareness, a lesson, and lessons are not to punish you. You're not a bad person if you experience something that's not so great. It's, guess what? You made a choice. You probably knew at the time that it might go one way or the other, and you chose anyways, and it turned out to be the thing that you didn't want. It's an experience, not even a lesson so much, but an experience that you get to look at it differently in that way. So that's what we mean, engaging yourself in a conscious way in the choices that you're making and the outcomes that you create in the choices that you make. And in doing it different is like hacking your mind, because your mind, so neuroscience, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of my, like I follow him, and I'm very much science based. I love the mind science, but it's like in neurology, there is a pattern of behavior and thinking, right? We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day, and more than 90% of those thoughts are the same thing we thought yesterday. So you're perpetuating these cycles, and even if you have an idea where you say, I want to do it different, it's very difficult for your mind to do it different, because it's now created a systematic way of doing it so long that it's now a behavior. It's a pattern and a behavior that's going to take more conscious awareness and intention to shift it. So that's what we want to bring with you, as what Sonia's saying, all of these different elements to support you in spring cleaning your life around how to do it different, not just, hey, this is wrong, this is not right, and so on and so forth, but giving you the tools and support, right, Sonia?
Right. And these habits or patterns, right, that we're taught by either someone we look up to, or the lack of guidance that we've had to learn how to figure stuff out ourselves to survive. And these habits and neglect, we can call it, can keep us from really connecting to our body and our mind, and our food that we bring into our life. So it's about understanding how you want to feel every day. If it's joyful or peaceful, effortless, getting clear on what that looks like. I call it getting clear on your why. And that's what we're really here to show you, help you to kind of clear that clutter that's in your mind and refocus yourself, but refocus your thoughts in a place of love and peace, not a huge to-do list, right?
Oh yeah. So one of the biggest failures that we, in terms of behaviors, it creates failure, and failure defining it as like not completing or accomplishing what you set out to do. And there's people who modeling success is how you create success in your life. And one of the things that the most successful people don't do is create to-do lists, because there's statistics that have shown that more than 90% of to-do lists the things on the to-do list will never get done. And what it is, it's like it's almost like a visual cue of anxiety. It activates anxiety and stress, because it's in your face, and you're literally documenting the lack of accomplishment, right? You're making these notes of like, this is what I got to do. And yes, we have our day-to-day responsibilities, but that's not the effect of why we do to-do lists in the first place. And there's some people who have mastered themselves in creating those habits to follow them. And I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the majority of the rest of us, because that percentage is like this big of people who successfully use to-do lists. How many times have you, Sonia, done a to-do list and you find your sheet and you go, oh shoot, I didn't even get through the first quarter, like the first top 10, right? And it's like our to-do lists get longer and longer and longer, and it's ineffective. So success is modeled by creating new habits of focusing and using your personal resources, which they're mental, emotional, physical, and using your energy and applying it to the things that get you closer to achieving what you want, the outcomes that you desire, and taking incremental, small, repetitive steps.
Right. And loving how you feel every day.
And loving how you feel every day, and determining your why from a much deeper perspective. The why is not this surface level, because I'm going to guarantee you this is the thing that shows up in my in my work as well, and in the people that I work with, and I'm sure you as well, Sonia, is that if you ask someone, what do you want? And they will rattle off a resume, they will rattle off a list of surface level material things, but they cannot define how they want to feel and how it, right, in having it, and the self-worth, and the ability, and the potential, like acknowledging the potential they have in creating that. They just have this idea of what somebody said, this is what success looks like. They haven't even been able to define what success.
Was that on your list
there? What success looks like, So, let us ask you and comment. What do you want in your life? What is the thing that would bring you the greatest joy? And this looking deeper than just what the material is, it's not the fancy new car, it's not the house in the hills, and it's not any of those things. Like, what is the level of satisfaction that you feel in creating that, and knowing that your own will, your skills, your capability was the reason why you accomplished it. Yeah. So let us know that, because I think that was part of our struggle as well, right? Like, is being in service. Can you share a little bit about, a moment that you had in that?
Yeah, I with working with my clients, I get a lot of people saying, I want to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
They come in and I'm like, okay, what does that look like? And I usually do a health history form, and I ask very unconventional questions. It's not a normal consultation. And I warn them ahead of time that I'm going to ask you questions and make you a little uncomfortable, but you're going to have to think. And so when I ask them questions like, what is your goals? And they're like, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what does that look like? What does losing 10 pounds look like? Well, it means, I'm skinnier, but how does it feel in your body? So, and why do you want that? They'll look at me and go, well, what do you mean? And I have to then clarify that. How does your body feel once you have that 10 pounds? I say, okay, visualize you 10 pounds lighter. What do you look like? What are the people around you saying? What are the comments you're getting? What does your clothes look like? What are you wearing? Are you wearing the same clothes? And it's really, really interesting, because they're like, well, yeah, well, if you lost 10 pounds, you can't wear that clothes. So what does that look like now? And it's putting yourself into your body. It's putting yourself in the future and seeing it as if you already have it, stepping into it. Yep. And once they step into it and they feel it, I'm like, are you happy? And half the time they'll go, well, I don't really know, because they haven't allowed themselves to actually feel what it's going to feel like once they have what they want. So instead, that goal or that wish, I said, it's on your to-do list, or it's on your wish list. Therefore, it's a dream of something that's not attainable for you. But when you can pull that in and feel it and see it and interact with what that feels like around you, as if you have it right here, right now, pulling that in your body, then I know that they can actually be successful in what I'm asking them to do. Because if not, and it's actually, when I do a consultation, it's really an interview for me to see if they're teachable. Yeah. And see if they're going to think outside of the box. Are they going to show up for themselves? Are they going to be open to trying new tactics? Because if they're not, my job is already defeated. They're going to, a month from now, go, I didn't lose the 10 pounds.
And it's your fault.
It's going to be my fault, right?
Your fault, Sonia. You did it. You didn't
And
force the food in their mouth.
and I take it personally as well, in understanding that I need to coach them, but they need to be coachable, and they need to be reachable, and they need to understand that they have to do it in a different way. They just have to show up for themselves in a different way. And if they're able to do that, there is no limit to what they can bring success in weight loss or whatever it is that they're looking for to themselves in their, if it's life coaching that I'm doing for them or whatever it is.
Yeah. So let's ask you ladies out there listening, whether you're driving in your car, say it out loud, think about it. Or if you're watching us on YouTube or any one of the other platforms where we're providing this on Facebook, write in the comments, like, are you coachable? When you go, if you worked with someone, if you've gotten a coach, and the most essential thing is like getting a coach, and not because we're coaches, we have coaches, right? Like we have to be coached as well to grow ourselves, because just because we do this work doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. And we're the first one to say, no. There's a whole lot of things that we're a constant work in progress. The distinction between us and maybe other people is that we're extremely willing to be coached. We seek it out. We are always looking and requesting for better ways of doing it, seeing things, looking at it, improving on it. We're, we're in constant evolution, right?
And find ways to apply things to ourselves. And I think that's a little bit of what makes this different, is not judging ourselves and doing it without feeling like we have to check off all of this stuff on our list to feel like we're accomplished, and understanding that it's about a journey. It's about going with the flow, and it's about understanding what's happening around you, but being present and enjoying the journey.
Absolutely.
It's not restricted in a way where I feel like I have to go without. Right?
The rigidity. It's like we want to remove the rigidity.
Enjoyment.
Yeah, enjoying it and allowing yourself for flexibility. That's one of the essentials. And know that it's not like, if you're doing it on your own, I'm going to tell you right now, it's harder. It's harder because you're having to, like, for example, the weight loss, and I work with women who also work on their body as well, but it's like we do the mental stuff as a priority, and I work with Sonia to handle the physical, because I don't want to do that, and it's not my specialty, and Sonia's an awesome badass and does it so well. So we don't want to be end all be all to everybody, and that's why it's important to have support from different directions. But one of the reasons why dieting and transformational work, personal development, is difficult to do it on your own is because you're not surrounded by people who are on the same page, who are in the same process. Diets are really hard because you're exposed to things like in your job where you spend most of your hours in a day, they're bringing in donuts and bagels and all the garbage and stuff. And then you guys are always going to lunch and going to the pizza place or to the pasta place and to the sushi place. And it's like, it's really, really hard because willpower is not what creates transformation. It's your mindset, it's your behaviors, it's your patterns. And, just to show you how powerful mindset is, your mind is one of the most essential tools, one of the things that you should be strengthening. And because it is the driver of your emotions and your patterns and behaviors, like the computer that is operating the physical experience, right? It's what you project out into the world and what you experience. That whole adage of like, what you put out into the universe is what you get back. What that means is that your perception and your belief system is going to mirror back at you through experience, whether it be through people, through relationships, right? Like just circumstances. It's going to mirror back to you what is going on in your internal environment. So just a quick example, in many cases where I've had women who, we do, because I do hypnotherapy as well, and integrative, I call it integrative hypnoresonance. It's my own system, but we get to the root of the emotional impact. And what ends up happening, like we clear out some of the clutter, the mental clutter, which is the essential, And I'll get phone calls and be like, the weirdest thing ever. And these are people who are conscious in their health and well-being, right? I'll get the phone call and say, the weirdest thing happened. I didn't change anything. I actually ate worse this week and I lost 3 pounds, 5 pounds. Your body, this is what's happening. This is what Sonia is talking about. Your body is doing everything it can to protect you and keep you safe. But if your mind is thinking that, if you talk unkind to yourself, you think horrible of yourself, you have low self-worth, it feels like it needs to protect itself from you and everything around it, so it's going to hold on to the weight. Is that not right?
That's exactly right. And it's how you support yourself, whether you're getting support from us or you're getting support from a loved one or a friend or a coworker, right? That also is going to help keep you centered in what you're looking for, of what you want for yourself. I mean, the weight of the pressure and the anxiety, right? That affects our cortisol hormones. That's our
Yeah.
adrenals. That's our metabolism. When we're stressed out at work and home and school or whatever it is that you're in, if you are mentally hanging on to that, that comes out in emotional eating. That comes out in how your body hangs on for dear life to support your immune system, to keep you going, to keep you borrowing your own body's energy, to keep you going when you're not getting enough sleep, to keep you going when you're not getting enough food or the right foods in your body. And when you're at ease and at peace within your body can physically let go. It can emotionally let go. It can, it literally will stop blocking and stop keeping that metabolism literally blocked to keep burning,
Yeah.
right? When you can let your hormones balance out, because it's all mentally how your energy that you're allowing in, your energy you're allowing out, or if you're just literally suffocating within
Yep.
your own body.
Yep. Well, and what I said in the beginning with the giving your body an opportunity to express itself, when you release your attachment and you get present to yourself and you feed and nourish your body with the right sustenance, right? It literally does the ah, right?
Yeah.
It does. It release and it can relax. So there's an actual function when we're in fight or flight, and that's the constant mode of stress and chasing your calendar and your busy schedules and shuffling your kids from place to place, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a professional, whether you're a coach yourself. It's like we're so consumed by our calendars and our to-do lists that we're operating in this state of fight or flight constantly. And what you had said, you said something significant. So it's like your body will borrow energy from itself. So there's an actual reaction. So when you're in fight or flight, the immune system is signaled by the brain to go on pause, right? It pauses itself because all of the energy that it uses to create healthy cells, to create good body functions and organ functions, and to feed the muscles and all that stuff, it has to slow down, because what it needs to do, it's basically sending an adrenaline rush to get
Right.
away from danger. It used to be
by a bear.
right. You're getting chased by a bear or the saber-toothed tiger, but that has now become our schedules.
Mm-hmm.
Has now become our to-do lists. That has become our overcommitting and doing things for other people when we can't even take care of ourselves, right? It's like the skipping meals. You're not going to lose weight by skipping meals, ladies. You're going to stress your body out way more, and you're only adding fuel to the fire. Is that not right?
That's exactly right. And I say this on the daily. When your body gets to eat enough food and the right kinds of food in little mini meals through your day, you keep your metabolism working efficiently. You don't have to get into it. You actually force the cortisol hormones to bounce out of that fight or flight. You give your body breaks. And we've talked about this in other podcasts, drinking the water, taking the potty breaks, not holding it all day long, like having these disruptions through the day that your body can actually have that. I call it aha moments, where you can go, okay, that's how that works. Or
Yeah.
that's how you do that, right? And we were going to ask that as well in our podcast, if you guys don't mind, like commenting below. What is your aha moment in what you were hearing today? What was of value to you? What turned on a light bulb? What was like, wow, I didn't think of that. That makes sense. What was it for you? What's your aha moment? And please list it down below.
Share it. Absolutely. Give us some heart love. Share it with your girlfriends. Share it with your mama, your sister, and even your brother. It don't matter. It's like share it with people, because this is not just for women. This is things that everybody needs to understand. And especially for those of you that are, everybody has a position of leadership. Okay. Everybody is a leader in their life to one capacity or another. There's always somebody looking at you and what you do and modeling what you do, whether it's your children, whether it's your peers, your coworkers, or you're in leadership in your businesses. There is somebody looking at what you're doing in life and determining either I want to do it that way or I don't want to do it that way. Right. So who are you going to be? And comment below as well and share us. Like if that's not who you are right now, then let that be your new commitment to yourself. Those for beginning of the year goals, resolutions, whatever name you have it, because a lot of people are on the other side of the boat, right? Where it's like, I don't do New Year's resolutions. They don't work anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and just throw it all to the wind, caution to the wind, right? Whatever side you're on, it's like, what do you want in your life? And how do you want to, how do you want to express yourself so that those that are watching, that look up to you in one way or another, are looking at you with like, wow, that's the way I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the don't. I don't
Right.
want. I want to be the
do. Send out that magnetism, right? You want to, what you send out, you want it to come back tenfold in love, and people go, oh my God, whatever that is, I don't know what it is, but I want that.
It's juicy and I want me some of that. No, totally. Isn't that the best thing? Like when we have our clients who actually, and like you said, that are coachable, that are committed to their wellness. We're not doing the work. We're advocating, and we're basically making a commitment to you that we'll stand by you so that you succeed. But it's not our job to do it for you. But the ones that do come to us, they're like, they can't even put into words how their life changes, and they can't even fathom the moment that they realize that their work has paid off, and they didn't do it for anybody else. They did it for themselves, but it's paying off because people are noticing, and they're going, my gosh, you're glowing, or my goodness, what are you doing? And how did you, right? And that's what we talk about.
That feeds us.
Right. And it's like, that's what we mean by showing up, where it's like, you're just fully authentic, being you, loving you, and you shine your brightness in the world, and people take notice and they want some of that. It's infectious. That's what a true influencer is, right? Like, to all your influencers out there on social media, we love y'all. And that's part of what you create in the world. But it's like, you add that, added layer of authenticity. It's like it's magnetic, and that's what you want to be. So we are super excited. So the one tip, one quick tip that they can do, one small thing that they can do today to start their spring cleaning process.
One quick tip. So to start your spring cleaning, I would actually kind of get clear on what it is you actually want for yourself. Maybe decide what's really necessary and what is unnecessary, and really take an approach of going, how do I want to show up differently? And sitting with maybe a breathing exercise, feel into your body. What do you really want? Get clear on it. What do you really want? Because in our next 3 podcasts, we're going to show you how to clean our body, our mind, our thoughts, our habits. And so you need to get clear, one, on what is it that you actually want. And you're going to apply that. One thing, you're going to apply that in the next episodes of these podcasts of applying it to your life. How are you going to show up? So One, get absolutely 100% clear on what you want, how you're wanting to show up differently. And it's usually that thing that makes you uncomfortable. Move towards it and not away from it. If something comes up and you're like, oh, that's too big, that's it. That's what you need to focus on.
Absolutely. And we're not asking you, we're wanting you to lean in, and we just lean in far enough to where it's like, I'm not going to ignore you anymore. I'm going to give myself permission to go to the place that has been needing my attention most. We're not asking you to make any kind of big radical action. We're just wanting you to get clear on the one area in your life. And it doesn't matter whether it's in your health, your physical health, whether it's your weight, whether it's, anti-aging, whether it's emotional health, right? Because we teach emotional fitness, and that's essential, right? Whether it's toxic relationships, whether you're the toxicity in a relationship, right? Because neediness and those kinds of things. So what is the one thing that it's like, God, I wish I would stop blank, right?
Or it can be something you're trying to discover. Maybe it's a talent of yours. Maybe
Right.
maybe it's something, a new hobby that you want to find, or to try, that you've a new language you want to learn, that you've been putting off, that you would really enjoy learning. It would be something that would be fun. That
Yes.
can also be part of it. We want this to be about fun. We want
Fun.
to enjoy what you're doing. And it's figuring out what's your jam. What is it?
What's your jam?
What is it?
Jam.
What is your jam?
Yeah.
We need like some good music to go.
I know we should have had it queued up, so maybe I'll throw it up in the in the edits. But you're right. But it's like, but not being afraid of the stuff that has been hiding in the shadows, right? That you've suppressed. So that's the whole idea, is that we want you to be able to engage in your life in a different way, where you honor yourself, all the rough edges, all, the fun, quirky stuff, and a clue into discovering like what your why is, like if it is something that a talent, or, something new that you put off. It's like, try to go back into your memory of like what inspired that curiosity, right? And it usually stems from something fun when we were fully open and connected and free spirited as children, and before they programmed our minds to be limited. Go back to that time, that playfulness, that that inner child, because it's very much a part of what needs to be nurtured now, where you take life too dang serious. We're too grown up, right? It's like grownish, grown up. We're, adulting is hard, all that stuff that we see out there. We want to inject some fun in the process, but also give you opportunities to look at the areas of your life that you've been maybe afraid to. So we thank you all for being here. I am Cynthia Martin.
And I'm Sonia Marie.
And we look forward to speaking with you next week. So happy blessings, much love, people, and make it your best week.
See you soon.